I need everything. Trust me, I hear what you're saying, but I like it's new what you're telling me.
My fellow Pella fans, we back. The state of the Pels are back. The Pelicans are back. Winning by 36 tonight. Jose Alvarado is back. I ask you first and foremost, is it a coincidence? Let's hop into this. Let's get everybody on the screen. Let's get this thing going. What's up, guys? What's up? What we got going on tonight, guys? How we feeling?
I mean, that 36, when was the last time we did that? I can't remember. I'm trying to think of the last time against a playoff contending team.
I thought we were going to win by 50 at one point.
Ooh, talk
we were
about
on
it.
fire.
They were just running with it. I mean, everybody's hitting shots. You got Dyson and Herb hitting shots out there, which, I mean, caught me off guard, killing it. I was floored.
Cody, 9 rebounds.
Yeah.
Cody. Can I just say, I take back everything I said about you, Cody Zeller. I thought you were just here for moral support, but you actually know what you're doing out there. So bravo to you, Cody.
My man makes
I'm a Cody
winning
fan
plays.
now. I'm a Cody fan now.
Are you officially going to be like a Cody Stan account?
No, I'm only a stand of one. There's only one that I'm a stand of, and his name is none other than Jordan Hawkins. I am a Jordan Hawkins stand. Is that I'm gonna be honest, Patty. I wanted to make a bird noise there, but I was not sure what noise a hawk makes. And so I was like, I don't want to commit.
Yeah, I really don't know. I just assume all birds of prey make the caw caw. So like that's the same noise.
I think that's right.
Yeah, I give that to pelicans too, and technically pelicans don't even make that noise, but my pelicans are birds of prey. So they
I got something for you, Dylan. I looked it up.
Talk to
the last time the Pels won by at least 36 points was almost a year ago to the date. On November 21st, 2022 against the Warriors, we won by 45.
What? Against the Warriors?
And they were missing everybody that game.
Oh, they were missing it? The Pels or the Warriors?
No, the Warriors.
The Warriors. That was the game when they didn't play anybody. Yeah.
I was about to say, we were missing everybody and beat them by that much?
Yeah. Our largest margin of victory in franchise history, just for fun, is November 14th of 2014. We beat Minnesota by 48.
Wow.
Thank God it was against Minnesota.
2014.
Just, just to jump right in with you guys, I got a really, really controversial question.
Well, let's get
it.
With currently where we are, we're seeing Dyson become a legitimate starting point guard, facilitating, scoring with the floater, hitting the open three, playing lockdown defense, 6'8". We're seeing Jordan Hawkins develop as a second shooting guard off the bench. We're seeing JRE looks like a solid player. I think I said it wrong. Yes, JRE. Jeremiah Robinson Earl, solid player off the bench. We're seeing Matt Ryan when he's available. Trey Murphy when he comes back. CJ McCollum when he comes back. We just got a snippet of Willie saying about the starting lineup, if it ain't broke, I ain't going to fix it. What do you think is the rotation come December, barring injury? Because I know one of y'all are going to say, oh, we're probably going to be something. But barring injury.
No, I wasn't going to say that. I'm not putting that on us.
Come on now. I'm with you, Chrissy, but you never know. Barring injury, what does the rotation look like in your head? Give me your starting five and your next three off the bench. So your top 8.
So what are we rolling out there right now? Just for
right now, we started Dyson at the 1, Herb at the 2, Bi at the 3, Zion at the 4, JV at the 5, and I think tonight, yes, I'm certain tonight, Jordan was the first off the bench. And then I think it was Najee. I think it was Jordan Najee.
That's right.
I think it was Jordan Najee. And I don't want to say Jose. It might have been Jose. It was Jose, then Cody, then JRE. I think I'm right there with it. I could be wrong.
I feel like I need a notepad to even get these thoughts down. I don't even know where to start with this one.
I'm talking because you got to remember so you're adding in Trey Murphy, whose skill set can fit well anywhere. You know what I mean? Like you can put Trey Murphy on any kind of team and he'll fit well. You have CJ McCollum, who's kind of he is Chrissy's favorite adult in the room, according to Chrissy. But he has a specific set of skills, a specific set of, I said a Pacific, did I say Pacific?
I don't know.
A specific set of skills. That's going to, watch, knowing Patty, that's going to be the name of this one. Are the Pels Pacific today? A specific set of skills that, he plays a certain brand of basketball. What is your top 8 coming out?
So if the Pels are playing this good, like how we have been the last 4 or 5 games, sorry to jump in there, Patty.
No, go for it.
So I'm gonna play Trey Murphy. I'm gonna start him, but I'm not gonna start CJ right now. I'm not messing.
Who are you
with
taking
this.
out? You said you're starting Trey, so who's coming out?
Yeah, I'm probably gonna take out.
That's tough.
I mean, man, I don't know. I want to say maybe Dyson, only because I want Dyson to prove himself a bit more. But he's doing great. I mean, but Trey's starting. He's starting hands down. He's put the work in. He deserves to start.
I'm all right. I want to jump in, and it's not because I think that Dyson is like some floor general out here or like a pure point guard. But like, if you take Dyson out of the current lineup we have, then who? I guess maybe BI, but who is your main ball handler? Like who runs point? If we want to talk traditional basketball, not that we play traditional,
but
basketball.
we're not traditional.
I mean, I feel like you taking out Dyson, and this is just he's playing the best basketball of his short professional career.
Mhm.
And to do that to a young player, we don't know Dyson's makeup. His defense is going to be there whether he's starting or not. I'm just worried about his offensive production because that is more finicky with those younger guys. If they aren't getting the shots they're used to, and then if he comes in off the bench, he's coming in with a different unit out there to start the game. So then he has to adjust to that unit. So that's the only reason I'm nervous about taking Dyson out is just like, okay, then Dyson isn't a plug and play guy. Like, yeah.
No, I agree with that, but he is young and he's going to have to learn that he is probably going to be an off the bench guy most of his career unless something happens or he ends up somewhere else. Like I'm more concerned about Trey Murphy not getting the minutes and where his head would be at than where Dyson's head would be at if he's not starting all of a sudden. Like I think he knows and he's mentally prepared, like I'm not starting forever. And my job is to like keep this team afloat as best as possible till we get, who we need out there. I just got to see Trey starting at least. If it's not working out, then change it back up. But I just can't see him not being a starter. Plus, I just love me a good 3-point shooter. So
I just feel like you have to have some kind of facilitator in the lineup. And I think if you want to start Trey, it almost feels like the only possible way to do it is to go like fully embrace small ball and take JV out and go. I don't want to do that because I'm a big JV fan. I'm not one of the people that has been against JV. But like if you start in Trey, which feels like he's so good, it feels like he needs to be a starter, but the team is also just a deep team. And the whole thing about the start lineup
Trey.
is
Sorry, go ahead. My bad.
The starting lineup to me doesn't matter so much as the closing lineup does.
Boom.
So who are you?
Okay, so who's your closing
with?
lineup?
That's what I'm trying to figure out too. I mean, it's still
that's easy. You closing with. I mean, and that sounded so pompous. Like I know, guys, listen to me. No, that's not what I meant. In my brain, he's like, yeah, it did. In my brain, it's super simple. You're gonna put Zion at your 5. You're gonna have Trey out there. You're gonna have Herb out there. You're gonna have Bi out there. And the fourth is this. This is the tough part because I think the fourth depends on the matchup. Because if the fourth guy on their team is a scorer, and they have 2 scorers on the floor, I don't want CJ and I don't want Trey guarding the second scorer. That is a moment where I'm putting Dyson in the game, or not even Trey. Trey's gonna be in there regardless, but I don't want CJ or Jordan guarding the second scorer. I want Dyson guarding the second scorer, in my opinion.
Mhm.
But if it's a guy who's just a sit in the corner guy, I think you know what? I rebuttal my statement of saying that's easy. That is not easy, and I'm gonna pass this on to somebody else to answer that. Very
No,
tough
that's
It's
not
not.
easy.
at all.
Yeah.
It's not easy at
And I
all.
don't think there's a wrong answer to it right now because it's
You
so
asked,
hypothetical.
you asked for 8 guys, and without even putting a starting lineup down, I think that's even difficult. But the first 8 that come to mind, right, is the current starting lineup: Dyson, Herb, Zion, Bi, JV, CJ, Hawk, and Trey. And however the hell you want to mix them up, and I know I left some people out. However you
I
want to
like
mix
it.
them up, that's the top 8. You figure it out. I also have an opinion that, not that I agree, I don't think JV is on this team through the All-Star break. I just don't. I just, from things I've, not that I have sources, but from things I've felt and heard, things I've seen over the last year and a half, it feels like maybe he's moved. We'll see. And that'll definitely make it a little more interesting on like who ends up in the starting lineup. You probably do fully embrace small ball. Does
Yeah.
Larry then come back and play a big part? I don't know. It's hard.
Who's
I don't want to
who's
make the
who's
decision.
to say you don't get a big in return?
Right.
Also,
Yeah.
you know,
Right. I'm
like
wondering though, do you mess that up if we're on a heater? Are you just gonna say, "All right, JV, we're on a heater, but you're out of here"? Do you mess up that
No.
core group if you're on a run? Because if they just played a
Mm-mm.
really good team tonight without Trey Murphy, and that team was fully healthy,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
that team I mean, my
They ran him off the court.
goodness.
It wasn't even close.
Yeah.
That game was over in the third
Right.
quarter.
Literally,
Mhm.
and the nuance of what Bi and Zion are adding to the game with their chemistry development. Are you like? So that's why I'm like, I hear that, but the JV we've seen these last 2 to 3 games, this aggressive JV that says, you know
Yeah.
what, y'all might not pass me the ball, so I'm gonna go
Mhm.
attack every time, and then I'm gonna take my double. I don't know if
Yeah.
I think this is what you wanted, right? I mean, and because I
He's
think
playing great.
right, I
Oh, he's
think
playing
the
phenomenal.
issue was that we wanted rim protection, but we've alleviated our need for rim protection by becoming a team that is very stout up front at the guard
Yeah.
position. And with
Mhm.
Zion playing gaps like he's playing them these last 2 games, I don't know, man. I'm just
Or
hypotheticals.
is Zion or is JV building up his trade value right now because he knows it's getting closer? You know, you see that in all sorts of sports. Suddenly they just are unreal. And you're like, where has this been your whole time here? So I mean, you never know. But I do want to just say I love that we get to even talk about the fact that we can have this deep of a team because we've got so many guys healthy. I know not everybody is, no team ever is really, but I mean, that's exciting just to think that, hey, December, we could have to make like tough choices on who's going to start because we have so many healthy, great players. It's hard to choose who to play.
yeah. I
Yeah, it's
think
amazing.
if you lose JV, the biggest thing you lose is rebounding. If you don't have JV, who's getting you these rebounds?
Mhm. Not
Right?
Zion
Like
because
you
he's
have guys that are big. Like Trey is like 6'10", but he's not going to go get your rebounds. He'll get
You
you a
know who
couple, right?
you know who gonna get them
Don't
rebounds?
say Cody Zeller.
Dyson.
Don't do it.
No,
And Cody
Jordan
Zeller.
Hawkins.
Jordan
That man,
Hawkins.
Let's
that man
go.
will fight for some
Let's
rebounds.
go. Talk to
That man
him.
will fight. That man's game has surprised me so much because I thought he was just a shooter. He's in there rebounding. He's
Yeah.
Preach.
facilitating.
Preach.
He's put backs. Like, I don't know what's happening. I'm gonna be
Preach,
honest.
he's rookie of the
Can I
year right now.
can I
Come on.
join the
Ooh.
I agree.
can I join the bandwagon? Is there
Look, I'm
room?
not a gatekeeper over here. You just jump in. Listen, I'm gonna
Listen.
pause right there. Just jump on in over here. There is no price,
I'm-
none of it.
Chrissy,
You
I'm
on
with
the
you.
Squad.
I'm trying to splash.
Ooh, that's a hot take, but because
He's-
man,
This is the thing. He's got to beat out Wemby. Wemby's going to have the media machine behind him.
yeah.
Right.
Chet is getting that rookie thing that he's going to be one of
The
these
second
second
year
year
rookie.
guys.
Oh yeah, that Blake Griffin.
Yeah.
So
Yep, the
he's
Blake
battling
Griffin.
2 aliens right now. It's
know.
not going to be an easy fight for him.
But
I
it's a
think
long
his-
season.
I don't care.
Yes, there you go, Chrissy. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just it is. It's a long season, not you don't know what the future holds with it. I mean, Jordan Hawkins is advancing his skills every game tremendously. I don't know if the other two are going to be able. I mean, if he keeps on track with this, I mean, this guy he's blowing minds.
It's insane.
Mhm.
We talking tonight. My wife's watching the game with me, and we're talking superstars. She's making fun of me because I refer to Bi as part-time superstar all the time, and AD is talking about stars, and um, she's like, "Yeah, well, if you ask my husband, he don't think Bi is." Anyways, that's neither here nor there. Then they passed it to Hawkins in the corner, and he splashes a three, and I'm like, I don't know, maybe we got a couple stars on this team. You know what I mean? Maybe there's some people that, I mean, you got if Hawkins, and this is a hot take, but if he continues on that track, he looks so dang good. Like,
Mhm.
how is it insane, or how is it like not credible to call this man the next star? And you still got Trey, who everybody was looking at as the next breakout player. Like, I
Yep.
mean, I'm drinking the Kool-Aid right now, but it's insane to think that you have this many guys on the team that have that potential.
That's what I was about to say. You could like mark this right now. This conversation that Chrissy's having about Trey feeling like he needs to start this time next year. We're going to be having this conversation about Jordan Hawkins.
3,000.
It's going to be it's going to be the conversation of maybe him and CJ need to switch spots in the lineup.
Yeah.
Because his
Yeah.
game, he's more versatile than I knew. I thought he was going to just be a shooter.
Yeah.
He facilitates probably just as well as CJ, right? Like he plays.
Might we say
probably
better?
pays better defense than CJ. Like,
Well, he's got them young legs,
Yeah.
it makes a big difference. So, when
Cut
you
that.
got that youth in you, you can do things. That's not a knock on CJ. He's a veteran.
Yeah.
You slow down a little bit.
Listen, I am a Jordan Hawkins stan. I've put it all everywhere because there's certain things that are intangibles that you can't teach, especially when you see it in a rookie. And one of them is the feel for the game, right? We waited for Dyson to get the feel for the game his entire first year, and he got it defensively for a second there, and then he got hurt, and then he had to work his way back, and it was too late because the season was basically coming to a close. Jordan Hawkins has figured out a way to impact the game even if his shot isn't falling. That is unheard of for such a young player that's not 7'3" and an alien.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like we're watching this guy do put back in. It's debatable if it was a dunk or a hard layup. You depending on who you ask.
I
He's
don't care.
6'3". He's 6'5" according to his draft profile, but 6'4", 6'4.5" around there. He's skying in there for rebounds, fighting for rebounds, not running from the smoke, going to embrace it and say, that's my rebound. These are things that are intangible that you can't really teach a young player. These are things that you hope that your young players develop over time. That's why I'm such a big Jordan Hawkins stan, is because I really believe you're building from a higher floor than you should be from this kind of shooting rookie. And I just believe I agree with you, Dave. I think this time next year we will be having a hard conversation with a few people on the team, honestly, because Trey Murphy, they're gonna have to pay him a whole lot of money if he looks like he looked last year, they're gonna have to pay him a whole lot of money. That's without him improving, which we know we've seen from him. So what do you do with Trey Murphy? And then you've got Dyson. And that leads me to my next question. And thank you for throwing me the alley, Dave. We are getting to the point where if the injury bug doesn't show up, which by the way, we're gonna have another good conversation. If the injury bug doesn't show up, you've got a multitude of players that are starting level players. Do you feel like we could get to a point where the chemistry on the team is fractured because you have so many starting level players, but you can't play? You don't think so, Chrissy?
Mm-mm.
Or
No, the
talk to me why?
chemistry, it's a team vibe and it's there. You could see a little rhythm was off tonight when Jose got in there just initially. And that was to be expected. But I think that, I mean, look, I don't know if y'all saw it in, I think it was third quarter, BI sitting after going on that run, and he's cracking up on the sidelines with Najee Marshall. I mean, he's having a good time. And I think that the chemistry is solid with all of them, no matter who's in there. They are clicking, they're firing on all cylinders. So I don't see that being an issue. I see it as only being a positive for us.
Yeah, I think specifically with that group of young guys too, the Herb and Trey and Jose and all of them, like the group that's supposed to be like next up, I feel like their chemistry is so tight that I just think they all understand that their time. Jose, you don't have to worry about Jose. Jose is gonna play whatever role they put him in. It is what it is. Herb, not worried about him at all either. It's Trey is the only one that I think is gonna be like demanding that, not him specifically being like, hey, I need to
Right.
start. His play is going to demand like those kind of minutes, and I just think he's so calm and cool, and he just doesn't. I don't get that vibe from him that it's going to cause issues. Not this year, maybe eventually he starts to feel that a little bit, but I don't think right now it's an issue. You're saying what do you do with him? I think if he starts showing up, there's another guy on this team that is due a big contract. I think the question is, what do you do with him? Not Trey Murphy.
Who is that other?
Yeah.
I'm off. Who is
I'm
it?
waiting.
BI is extension eligible.
I just
now.
wanted you to say it. I just wanted you to say it.
It's not a knock on BI. I mean, if Trey comes back with a nice little mid range game and can shoot better from three than BI, and you got to start making tough decisions. Just a thought.
Well, and that's when you also get to the point where you could start trading for pieces that you need. Not that we want to lose anybody, but I mean, that's when you have an excess, you can say, all right, what's a missing piece here? Maybe it is a big, something like that. What can we trade for? So, yeah, I mean, that's going to be some big decisions next year.
And that's not me saying I want to get rid of BI. I'm just saying you talked about having to make tough decisions. Crazier things have happened.
Oh yeah, I don't think you see Bi get moved. I mean, he's the heart and soul of the team in a lot of cases. Whether I like to mess around and call him a part-time superstar or not, like the dude can play and he ain't going anywhere unless he chooses to, and that would shock a lot of people. Chrissy, I think you made a good point earlier. You were kind of talking about the mindset of Dyson, but I think that applies to a lot of people, and it goes further into your point of how good the chemistry is, right? Like Dyson has that mindset of like, I'm just here to give my best in whatever position or whatever role I'm in. You can kind of see that. I think it's the same with Herb. It's the same with Jose. Like we've mentioned a lot of these guys. Like there's a lot of guys that we're talking about that have a lot of ability that could start or that could play, but I think mentally, like they don't have to. They're not in that position where they're like, hey, I have to start, otherwise I'm going to cause problems. Whereas you do see that unfortunately with other guys. So yeah, that's a great call out.
That kind of.
I think we have a win mentality, no
Right,
matter what it takes.
But I feel like, and I agree with all of you, but I feel like there's one anomaly that we're kind of not really speaking into, or not really anomaly, that's the wrong word, but one hidden point that we're not speaking into, and that's maxing out your financial potential. And so, with that being the truth, yes, they may be cool individuals, but they also have agents. They also have families. Who will see these guys play their role so well and say, you play that role really well. There's also other teams who, fun fact, will, even if you're a restricted free agent, they will drive up the price point so high to where you have to go above the tax threshold. And are we that team? Let's say it in unison. No, we're not that team. We're not. That's not us. And so I think while they might have the right mentality, this is a business to these guys. It's they love this game, and it's the game that they probably love since they were children. But now they've gotten so good at this game that this game can feed their children's 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 children if they make right decisions. And so that's why I'm leaning on the side of I think the chemistry might be right, but I just don't know if you're able to keep everyone because everybody isn't Warriors. Isn't it Bob Myers? Isn't that the name of the owner of the Warriors? Everybody isn't him who writes a blank check and just figures out a way to finagle the threshold and try and find money in crevices. Everybody isn't the New Orleans Saints VP. I mean, not to bring in our cousins, but we get made fun of every year about
That
how
cap
much.
space.
Yeah, the cap space is like it doesn't exist in New Orleans. We still
It
trying to
doesn't.
find it. We don't find and so with that being the truth, I just wonder, could we see a Trey Murphy say, because you're gonna have to max him out. And I heard someone say we're not going to get rid of BI, and I agree with that because he's 26 years old. 26-year-olds that average the amount of points and can do the things that BI can do aren't growing on trees. And Trey Murphy's development isn't even about his shooting capabilities. He can't facilitate like BI can facilitate. That's the
But
separation right there.
can I just get us back to reality that we're 14 games in, Trey Murphy hasn't stepped on the floor. And so we don't know yet, like all of that. Like that's a very next season, we've got a long way to go before we can even say, hey, this is what we're kind of looking at. Like, let me see what Trey Murphy's going to do healthy back on the court
I have a
first.
question because I don't understand the cap logistics in the NBA like I do in the NFL. First of all, the NFL cap is not real, and I will
It
shout
is
that from the
not.
mountaintops. The NBA cap, from what I see, is 100% real. There are not a lot of ways around it. Um, is there a possibility that you can somehow move CJ and get off of his contract when it comes time to pay other guys?
Yeah,
Because I think if you're going to
I'm
call
sure there
one
is.
person out, and this isn't a shot at CJ, it's just he's obviously the odd man out age wise, and if you're trying to keep your core together, I think if you're choosing between CJ and Trey, depending on what Trey ascends to, um, I
Mhm.
think you choose Trey, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. I mean, and that this could also be kind of where the JV thing comes into play, also, right? Like if you trade JV for a younger big, not on that kind of contract, you're freeing
Mhm.
up space. But also, like for years, Gail Benson had said she would go, at least reports were she would go into the luxury tax if it was proven to give us a winner. So this is going to be it. This is going to be put up or shut up time for her. If you don't do it,
Mhm.
we all gonna know you're a liar. We all probably think that already, but but
I
this
got to
is
give Miss Gale some credit though. So many people been hating on her for the Saints and for the Pelicans, and I just disagree, man. She is throwing money at this stuff left and right. Now, has she gone into the tax? No, but she is just throwing money at the Pelicans franchise in general, upgrading the facilities, doing all these different things, hiring all these different people. Like, you got to
You
give her
know
some
what,
credit, right?
Patty? And I agree with you,
Yeah.
but everything you just said. You just said she upgraded the facilities. You know what that does? That is a tangible revenue booster. Why? Because most people, and this is a statistically proven thing. Most people, when they go into a place, they don't even judge it by the place; they judge it by the restroom. They judge it by how they feel, and there's a reason why people would rather
That's
go to
so weird.
Starbucks. I know it's strange. There's a reason why people would rather go to Starbucks than Joe Schmo's parking lot coffee
No,
shop. It's
this is.
not just about the coffee.
I'm
It's
stopping at
about
Bucky's
I was gonna say this is the
solely
Bucky's
based on the
conversation,
restroom.
and
right.
I
And
hate
so
it.
Yeah.
I don't like this
and
conversation.
so the truth, but the truth is, that's the truth. It's just like people are that, and I'm with you. That change that you spoke of, the renovations, that is going to show a direct revenue boost because people like clean and new things. So even if they don't show up
Mhm.
every night, they're going to show up the first couple of nights to see the clean and new thing. I'm just not sure. I'm not sure. I don't know get Mrs. B personally, and I don't like to talk about people I don't know personally. But I'm not sure the nuances of div- of paying to keep a team together that is a winner. I am, and you're right. We're gonna see. You know what? Instead of me saying anything, we're gonna see because now you have a team. And by the way, somebody said, "Is it possible to trade CJ?" I just looked up his contract. Most likely not, because he hasn't even started his new deal yet. He's got a new deal where he's making that starts in 2024, 2024, 2025, where he makes 33 million
Mhm.
and then 30 million. And so
Wow.
that is and how old will he be at that point? He's 32 now, so he'll be 34, 35 around the
Ancient.
last. And yeah,
Ancient,
and and I
basically.
know LeBron has made us believe that everybody can play till they're 40.
No,
Everyone was not built in a
LeBron's
Russian lab.
special.
Yeah. So I think we're probably stuck with that CJ unless we package someone else with him. So maybe, I mean, it could be a salary dump situation.
There's a way
But
to get off of it. Teams have gotten off of Russ multiple times.
but that's different. So Russ before he got to the Clippers was averaging a triple double. And Russ is a mediocre personality. You know what I mean? And this again, we got to remember it's a business. People will buy Russell Westbrook jerseys. There are dudes in barbershops right now. Like I go into a barbershop weekly and I get into deep arguments with people about Russell Westbrook not being better than Allen Iverson. These are real arguments I'm having. I'm
Oh
not even
man,
joking, Patty. It's a real thing. Like they're like, "Yeah, Allen Iverson was never doing." I'm like, I'm tired. I'm going to a new barbershop. It's so I say all that to say it's true. Like you got to also remember the business side of it. Yes, it's harder to move a Russ contract, but you know that Russ is going to drive revenue just from that Westbrook on the back of that jersey. And he's not going to cause you problems in the locker room, which CJ would never do. But he's also going to he does not need the ball in his hands. He can get rebounds. He can play defense. Whereas CJ is kind of more of a skilled scorer. Let's just call it what it is. That's just my personal personal opinion. Just my personal thoughts.
I feel like there's more to that, and I kind of want to pick at it a little bit. Can I poke it and see if there's anything else that comes out?
Go for it.
What do you mean by that? Tell me more. What is it? What does that mean?
What does what mean? What part of it?
The part where you said he's just a skilled scorer.
So, oh goodness. So CJ's, and I hate to say this because I love CJ. I know Chrissy loves CJ. She's waiting to say something. She's already got her mouth fixed to say something. Listen, I love CJ, but there's something about a guy being in a certain system and playing a certain way for, was it 10 years he was in Portland? Or 8 to
I don't
10
even
years,
know.
somewhere around there. I don't know if someone could look it up. Where he succeeded playing a certain brand of basketball. Now, if he didn't succeed, that's different. But he succeeded at playing a certain brand of basketball. Now, we've seen moments where CJ has shifted and become this facilitator. But my mom always told me, you don't know what you truly got until the pot gets hot. You don't know what you truly have until the pot gets hot. If that egg stank, it's gonna stink when the pot gets hot. You know what I mean? And that's the Louisiana country girl saying. I don't know what it means. You have to ask her someday. But that's the truth. And so when it gets hot, what does CJ do? He goes back into Portland CJ mode. And I just feel like that's just who he is. He's just a skilled scorer that's most comfortable being a skilled scorer. Chrissy, go ahead and cook me. I'm ready.
No, not gonna cook you on any of that. I mean, I think there's just two versions that we've seen of him, but I do think it's made a difference that he doesn't have a hurt thumb anymore, and but he is older. Like he's just older. I'm older. Like I get it. You get a punctured lung a lot easier, than you would have when you're 20 something years old. So I mean, there's a lot of layers to it, but I do think that if we need contract wise to free up something, they always have ways around it. Like they just do. They'll do whatever it takes. So
I think they'll figure it out. You also see that the cap is going to keep rising. Money just keeps coming in. So these contracts that look terrible today, 2 years from now, it's gonna be like, oh yeah, like that's not. It might not be ideal, but it won't be as hard to move as you think. I think. I do want to. Kind of poke a little more, not poke a little more, but almost agree with you in a sense. I was waiting though. I wanted to hear you say it, and Dave was smiling because Dave and I have had these conversations pretty openly on our Whoever Knows podcast. CJ does seem to have a tendency, whether hurt, whether not hurt. I mean, this year he's played phenomenal, and I love it. But when the going gets tough, he feels like he needs to be the one that rights the ship, and you don't always have to be that guy, especially not with this talented of a team.
Right.
And that's just my take. And obviously, I'm not someone who has sat here and played collegiately or anything like that. But I'm a vibe guy. Everybody knows that, and I can see when the vibes are off. And sometimes the vibes are off. That's it.
I
Yeah,
don't think
and
you ever need to
You
be
make a
that
good
guy.
point. You do. You make a good point that he might want to be that guy because he's been that guy before. I mean, it's hard to let go of things like that. But I do think with as talented as the team is, like there's other guys maybe better suited for that role. No knock on him, like I get it, but it might be time to pass the torch.
yeah, and not
There it
to
is.
like kind of put a bow on the business part of this. I just looked it up. The NBA gets a new TV deal in 2025, right
Mm.
as Trey Murphy becomes a restricted free agent.
I just was gonna say that they are.
Apple is about to come throw a bag at the
Listen,
NBA. Somebody is about to give
I
them
thought
so much money.
Amazon. I think
Somebody they gonna
Amazon
yeah.
wants the.
It
Amazon
just
is. Go ahead.
no. I'm just gonna say it just goes with what Patty said. You're gonna see the cap keep rising, and when every time they get these TV deals, it skyrockets. That's
Yeah.
how some of these players get some of these ridiculous contracts.
Mhm.
So
So I got a
Makes
question
sense.
for you guys, and this question is a question I pondered on asking because I know it's a little too early to ask it, but I like to play the early game. Um, with where Zion currently is playing, we've seen we have seen Zion play some really good basketball as of late. Energized on defense, making the right reads on offense, being in the right space. He only had a slight stint in the last game prior to this game where he started to whine and walk back on defense. But other than that, we hadn't seen that in a while. How do you guys feel about the Pelicans resting Zion on back to backs? How are we feeling about that?
I will always be on the side of I just think I like the Stan Van Gundy clip. Like it just makes so much sense to me that the way for him to get into shape is to play. Not like I'm not gonna be somebody that's like I'm not gonna throw some huge I might crack a joke when he doesn't play or something, but I'm not gonna throw some huge fit when he doesn't play back to backs because I think when it boils down to it at the end of the year and they start to really focus on the standings, I think he will be playing back to backs because you can see it.
Mhm.
He's not in shape yet. Like he's not fully conditioned yet. But that goes to my point of maybe he should be playing to get into shape. But I also understand the side of if he's not fully there and he plays those back to backs, not fully conditioned, it could increase his injury chances. So like I understand both sides of it, but I personally am on the side of if he is healthy, I think he should play.
There it is.
Go for it, Patty. What you
And
gonna
listen,
say?
I'll be very candid. I don't care. I don't care. If it works, I don't care. If it doesn't work, I'm pissed. Like that's it. I'm not the medical guy. I'm not, I can look at these random analytical medical stats and talk about risk of re-injury and all these things or like, miles ran and all that, like the Warriors track all these different things. And I know like every team does it now. I don't care. I don't care about any of it. Just stay healthy, win games. If you sitting out leads to us losing games, I might be a little upset over time, but it's game 14 or whatever, like you said. So right now, I don't care.
I want to throw one more thing out before y'all respond. When it's frustrating is games like or the last game when he
Mhm.
sat out and we lose by
A point.
one possession. Yeah, when you lose like that and you just look at it, it's like, man, if your superstar plays, you just feel like if he's there, you win that game. And that's when it gets frustrating. Not like it's always going to be hindsight. If you win that game, of course, we're all like, okay, who cares that Zion rested, right? That's all I wanted to throw in there.
Yeah.
I think I'm getting numb to it. I'm just like, yeah, we'll go ahead and rest him and let's keep him healthy. Because they are still doing workouts on the days that they're resting. It's not like he's just sitting around all day, watching TV. So I don't really look, I understand what Stan said, but like I don't think you 100% get in shape from playing in the games. Like that's like saying, I mean, I know he plays a lot of minutes, but I mean, most of these guys are not in shape because they play in the games. Like they're in shape from what they do before and after the games.
I also don't mean to take a shot at Stan Van Gundy here, but like, are we gonna take like his word on health?
Right.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Like, and I'm not even trying to be that guy, but like, come on.
Like, is there a
Stan is just catching strays.
yeah?
I'm
He's just living
saying.
life. He's just
So
living
maybe
life.
He's living a great life.
catching
Clearly.
strays.
Right.
Listen, I'm of the mindset of this, and this is the Pels have 9 more back-to-backs. 9 more. And they have one stretch where they play 3 games straight. If we say not Zion has missed 2 back-to-backs already, 9 more, that'll be 10 games. I mean 11 games. So if I told you knew you were getting 69, that's right? My math is right. Yep, 69 games.
Nice.
Hey, it's getting late. 69 games of oh goodness, I just caught on. It's getting late. Oh, why do you do this to me, man? Every time. First with the beat. Never mind. Okay, if I told you were gonna get 69 games of Zion, would you say I'll take him resting on every back to back on the schedule? Because I'm of the mindset personally, and I've posted this before online, and people are like, he needs to be playing. He's 22 years old. You're 22. Listen, there ain't many 22-year-olds walking the planet Earth that's built like him that's playing professional basketball. That's the one thing we have to take into consideration. Majority of us grew up in the 80s and 90s. Can I tell you something? There was only 2 individuals in the 80s and 90s that were built like this guy and played the same way this guy played. Charles Barkley and Sean Kemp. And if you want to throw in Rodney, I get his first name, and you know these guys, they were not jumping like Zion. And so we've never seen, and even Charles and Sean, they weren't even like those two put together are Zion. Like he has the
Right.
he has the leaping ability of Sean Kemp, but the just he moves like Charles Barkley, and so my brain is thinking we can't really compare him to what we saw in the 80s and 90s and we grew up with, because one, that was a totally different game. Those guys were completely mentally different than anything we're seeing now. Mentally, most of those dudes would go to the bar and then go play basketball. You know what I mean? We've all watched The Last Dance. We heard the pizza story about the pizza, that he was the only one that had the pizza. Anyways, back to what I was saying. That's your influential person, Patty. But back to what I was saying. Zion, we've never seen anything like him. Never seen anything like him. And so if I can get Zion to play in the playoffs and ready in the playoffs, I said this before the season started. I'm okay with Zion resting every back-to-back for the rest of the season, because that means come playoff time, I know I got Zion. And I like my chances with Brandon Ingram and Zion on my team. That's me personally, because we haven't seen it yet.
But I think what you're saying is, and this is just to play devil's advocate or voice the other side of the fan base on this argument. You're saying if you can give me 69 games of Zion, I think part of what makes people so frustrated is in the back of their head. I think everybody's like, I think he's going to miss time at some point. So it's frustrating to see him missing games now when he's healthy, when people just assume he's going to miss, down the road. And it's not fair I guess it's not fair to do that, because if he's healthy right
Yeah.
now, it's hard to just assume that's going to happen. But also at the same time, it's like, if people have kind of earned the right to assume that also at this point, because, of what the past has or past has shown. So like I said, I get both sides of it. I'm with you though. If you guarantee that he's going to be there in the playoffs, then yeah, absolutely. You do what you got to do to get to that point.
If they think
right.
he's going to get hurt, then I feel like by not resting him at all, then they're basically like, hey, how fast can he get hurt so he can get better to get back in? Like, then let's just take our time with it. I'd rather that and get us further into, like you said, Dylan, I'd rather see playoff Zion. Well, if I can watch Zion enough to get us to the playoffs, like I'm going to be happy with that.
Go ahead, Chrissy, go off.
Oh yeah.
I just feel like, again, and I know we're about to shut it down and last takes and all that stuff. I wore this jersey for my last take, but I feel like it's he's due. we talk about Joel Embiid a lot in the Joel Embiid comparison. Around this time is when Joel Embiid got his health figured out. We talk about Charles Barkley and Charles Barkley's health issues. Around this time, Charles Barkley got it figured out. Because Charles Barkley was playing minimum minutes because he was out of shape. And then his OG said, you need to lose weight, you fat boy. That's basically what he said. And so I think right now we're due. And so my mindset is, as long as I know, come February, if Zion makes it past January and he's still healthy, we win.
We win.
In my opinion.
That's it. I love it. Close it out. Last thoughts. Any it doesn't even have to be Pels related. Anything you want to close this out on, any hot take, anything. Just shout it out. We'll go one at a time. Whoever wants to go first.
Go ahead, Dylan. You got something you want to get off your chest. Go ahead.
Listen, Columbus Blue Jackets. Listen, let me tell you something, guys. We're on a losing streak right now, and it's not looking bright. But don't worry. I believe in us.
Streak for a long time.
CBJ fam. Okay, calm down. Calm down over there. This is my take. CBJ fam, rise up. Don't give up on the guys. The turnaround is on the way. That's all I got to say. CBJ, stand up. Columbus Blue Jackets, we coming back.
Sweet. I tried to Google Allen Iverson documentary, but I only found one, and it's not very relevant. So I guess I can't shout anything out.
I'm going to shout out Tulane basketball. Undefeated right now. Down 2 with 8 minutes left in the second in their game right now. So shout out Tulane basketball. Shout out Miami basketball 5-0. Go ahead. Since we're shouting out our own teams.
I'm going to 2 quick things. Number 1, Jordan Hawkins, Rookie of the Year right now. I'm calling it. Number 2, LSU women's basketball. If you haven't been paying attention, there's so much to pay attention to. So get on that train if you haven't already. They're fun for a lot of reasons right now.
Where is Angel Reese? Tune in next week.
She got to bring her grades up, bro. All right, let's close it out. Nothing else. Love y'all. I don't know. I don't even know if that's the truth. That's just what they're saying. We'll see. We'll see y'all next week. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate everything. Till next time.
Peace.
Salute.
Flock up.
Flock up.